Hey everybody, welcome to the Analog Experience. I'm
And I'm meh.
and we just want to say thanks for tuning in. This is our second episode, and our today's sponsors are the town of Ferguson.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it. This is a sudden sponsor. We weren't really expecting it, but we really appreciate the Ferguson Tourist Board. So let's go ahead and get right into the commercial. Ferguson, what a great town. There's not enough positive things I can say about it. Oh man,
It's very beautiful.
Beautiful town.
Great people.
If you ever need to get your car fixed, there's an O'Reilly Auto Parts. I heard the CC's Pizza is delicious.
Yeah, it's very safe. They have a great Dollar Tree there.
Yeah.
It's fully stocked. Nobody's stealing anything from that.
Yeah, it's such a great town. Can't say enough positive things about it. So thanks to the tourism board from Ferguson for sponsoring this podcast.
Yeah, and just another shout out to Mike's Hard Cranberry Lemonade. That's what we're drinking tonight. I see here, this actually reminds me of something my friend told me. Down here, their slogan on Mike's Hard Cranberry Lemonade, it says, cold, hard, refreshing. And one of the things that my friend said really pisses him off is that, like, on beer commercials and stuff like that, they always advertise it as cold. He's like, no, fuck you, that's up to me. like, how can you advertise it as cold? Like, I think, what is it, Miller? Or, no, it's Coors.
It's Coors.
Coors.
Okay, wait.
Cold is the fucking Rockies. Like, that's fucking up to me.
Let me just say something about Coors. I don't trust anybody that drinks Coors.
Okay.
If you drink Coors, fuck you, you're a douchebag, automatically in my book. The only people that I know that drink Coors are douchebags. So fuck you, Coors. I don't care if we get your sponsorship or not.
Yeah.
Eat a dick, Coors.
Well, see, it's basically like, on their commercials, if the mountains are blue, it's as cold as the Rockies.
Yeah, like I fucking need to know that. It's my decision, just like your friend said.
Yeah, like, how can you ever, if that's your selling point for your drink, like, that's lame, because it's like...
You have a terrible drink.
It's
your
up to
selling
me.
point is it's cold?
Yeah, that's up to me.
Yeah,
What if it was warm? Is it still cold?
It's cold as the Rockies.
Anyway.
Yeah, so...
how cold is the Rockies?
As cold as Coors.
Okay. When the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as Coors?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to go visit the Rockies, just really because I want to go to Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado seems like a really great place. It's actually kind of funny. They're a place that really seemed like they needed the legalization of marijuana because...
Why would you say that?
Well, they're... All the time I hear great things about Colorado.
Yeah.
But it seems like all the bad things also happen in Colorado. You take Columbine, that was in Colorado.
Yeah.
Aurora, Colorado. It seems like the mass killings, are in Colorado. So it's like, let's just all smoke a little weed. Let's get some less mass killings up in this bitch.
Yeah. That's something we can all agree with. Yeah, I'm glad that it happened in Colorado, but I'm just waiting for it to happen in the rest of the U.S., It's about time. It's 2014, and I don't know if our listeners smoke weed or not, but I got to say, it's not that big a deal, And I think we talked about it a little bit in the last episode. It can be addictive, but if you're addicted to weed, you're probably addicted to jerking it and cheeseburgers and, everything else.
You've got an addictive personality at that
seriously.
point.
It's I don't know. I'm just really happy that it happened to Colorado. It's how long ago did it happen? 2 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
1 year ago? But yeah, everything seems to be going great there. But let's talk about a town that's not doing so great.
Ferguson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's a very complicated issue. I understand I'm completely of the opinion that a lot of times police will be brutal and unfair and all that, but I think this is the wrong case to really expose that, just because the details surrounding what happened are sort of like
cloudy.
Cloudy. The cloudy details.
Yeah, it's cloudy on both ends. And I read an interesting article that didn't blame the problems with Ferguson so much on racism as it did with incompetence. And let me tell you, I can definitely believe that there's more incompetence than racism in Ferguson. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't live there, but there was mishandlings all around. There was the police. The the person who actually handled the body, the what's the word I'm looking for? Not quarantine. Oh man, I'm so glad that we should really be on radio. Stumbling around for our
coroner.
Coroner, thank you. The coroner actually didn't release the papers on Mike Brown's body until a day before the trial ended. So, there was just, and it took 4 hours for them to actually take Mike Brown's body off the streets. That sounds like incompetence to me more than racism.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of there's a lot to be said about just that area. And this isn't race at all, but that particular neighborhood, or that particular area, from my understanding, is sort of a high crime area. And if you're a police officer in a high crime area, you sort of tend to sort of become jaded and don't really care as much for the people and just sort of expect the worst out of everyone.
Yeah, just look at it at our own job, I'm sure you remember your first day when you came to this super nice, super nice, super fancy hotel, But now that you've been there for a while, I'm sure you don't think as much. It just kind of feels like, oh, it's whatever.
Yeah, and the cops are sort of the same way. They see a lot of crime there. They see a lot of drug crime. They see a lot of theft. And so they just sort of assume the worst out of everyone. And basically what it seems is, cops should, if we're giving them the authority to take lives, then we should hold them to a higher standard in terms of not getting jaded as quickly or something like that. But we are humans.
There are two things that I would really like to talk about that holding cops to a higher standard is. One, they should be held to a higher physical standard. For one thing, they should be trained in martial arts, and they should be required to be fit and active people. There's so many fat cops around,
Yeah.
I think a lot of this situation could have been avoided if the police officer had been able to subdue Mike Brown in a different way and avoid his punches and everything else. The second thing I'd like to talk about holding a cop up to a higher standard is the reason the officer was asked, why weren't you carrying a taser? His answer was, well, because it feels kind of uncomfortable. It's just, what? You're not carrying some major, a major part of your equipment just because it kind of feels a little uncomfortable? It's
like I am a strong supporter of tasers because there have been like isolated incidents where it's been more, it's affected someone's health more drastically, but
there's always the stories that a cop shoots a teenager in the neck or something,
and they're paralyzed for life or become a vegetable. But
that's terrible. But I think it's a safer option than the deadly force, which is the next option. Yeah. So I think that I'm a big supporter of tasers because it's scary if you're the person getting shot. You don't want to be shot with a taser. Probably as much as you don't want to be shot with a gun, probably a little bit less, but I'm gonna tell you straight up, like, if you're gonna shoot me with a taser, you might as well shoot me with a gun in the head. Well, that's your opinion. I think I'd rather be shot with a taser, but whatever. No, teach his own.
Yeah, I saw this thing kind of going a different route for a little bit. I saw this video where they had actually sort of amped up the effectiveness of the tasers, and they had this guy who was doing demonstrations all day. He was a police officer, and he was getting shocked with the old tasers. And he sort of showed that he could fight through it. There was one cop standing there. He shot the guy with the taser, and the guy fought through it and charged the cop that shot him. And
I just imagine this dude is like, yeah, fucking tase me. Oh,
yeah. That's kind of what
let me fight through it. Oh.
That's kind of it. Almost did seem like a pleasurable experience for him, but then it's like, all right, we're gonna test out the new one, and he was just fucking limp. Out. Yeah, he was limp on. He was like, stop. But this guy had to have done this demonstration multiple times. I'm just like, who the fuck is this crazy motherfucker?
Yeah, it's kind of like when you. Well, yeah, that's crazy. My first thought is it's kind of like when you're having sex with a crazy chick, and she wants you to choke her and all this other stuff, but then it's always that one time when you take it too far.
And you kill somebody, and then you have to...
Exactly. You're putting your balls in her asshole, and then next thing you know, you fucking stretched them out too far, and it hurts.
Yeah. And it's very, very uncomfortable, sort of like a taser on your belt.
Yeah. But yeah, so this new taser seems like it's taking it to the next level then.
Yeah. But yeah, on that same note, there was it's a whole sort of bad situation all around, and I think that we're really
there's really no winning side.
Yeah, it's sort of a, you can call it race or whatever you want. I don't personally think it was about race this time. He just happened to be in a black neighborhood and probably felt threatened. I can't speak for him if he's racist or not. He might be, but I think this could have happened if the cop, let's say a cop wasn't racist. I think this same situation probably could have gone down.
Could have easily happened to a black cop. But yeah, that brings me kind of to another point. Is I hate it when people use the example of like, well, what if he was, what if Mike Brown was an athlete? What if he was a black athlete? Well, that would have been a different situation. Yeah. Or what if it was a black cop? Yeah, well, that would be a different situation.
It would be different.
It would be different.
What if this all happened in space and it was a laser gun?
Would have been different. I hate
what if
that
Mike
argument.
Brown was a dog and the dog was charging the police officer?
I'm following.
Yes, and the dog was actually just running up to the police officer to get some love, but the dog was a pit bull, and the police officer felt threatened. He shot the dog. That dog is Mike Brown, and
Mike Brown, the pit bull dog.
Yeah, and Darren Wilson is a fucking racist. That's basically what we're trying to say.
Was it a black pit bull?
Do they have white pit bulls?
I don't know. Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that. My friend had a white boxer, and boxers are not meant to be white for a reason. This dog was an unhappy dog.
White is, I actually...
It was the mutt of the litter. It would breathe heavy, and it kind of was retarded. It would just kind of stand there and stare at you.
But it's kind of cute, though. For a house pet.
It was cute, except for it would shit in, like, crop circles. It would walk around in circles shitting and leave crop circles of shit. And I think it also might have been a little bit retarded because... people would smoke dabs in that house all day, and weed, and blow it in that dog's face. Yeah. So they were making an already kind of retarded dog a little bit more
was
retarded.
The dog, because I've seen a lot of boxers who are like kind of lazy-eyed. It's really cute, but it's also like, you're the retarded dog. You're the dog that's retarded in the dog world.
Yeah, it's... yeah, it's... I look at those dogs with smushed faces, and I'm like, that dog is probably fucked up. Like, if you saw a human baby... Yeah. With the smushed face.
Yeah, like that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. But because we're humans, we're not part of that species. We're like, oh, look at this little smushed face. But actually, that dog's probably a little.
Yeah. It's like if there was a being that like took us as pets, they'd probably take all the Down syndrome kids.
Exactly. They'd be like, oh, they're so sweet.
Yeah.
Look at them. They just like to run around.
So friendly.
Yeah.
But
little smushed face.
I think on a like opposite end, though, I guess saying that you can't be racist towards boxers because boxers, a lot of them are stupid. But my friend has the coolest dog I think I've ever met, and she is very well trained. She's a boxer. She's very lovable, and she knows how to like jump and roll over and all this stuff. And so it just sort of goes to show that she's a boxer, but she is still like very well trained, and as opposed to other boxers who just shit in crop circles.
Yeah, my friend's dog. Shout out to him, Tyrone. We miss you, Tyrone, the white boxer.
Did you know that I read this, so I don't know if it's a fact. But
was it on the internet?
I don't probably.
Well, then it is true.
Okay. A lot of dogs you'll see like have a white like underbelly, and they say that the reason that is because like when they roll over in submission, the white is sort of like a white flag.
How do dogs know? Wait, that doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe how do dogs know our society rules that white means submit? Oh, okay.
No, I'm thinking that's maybe where we took it from.
I'm retarded. Okay, that makes more sense than what I was thinking.
Like as the guy, people see that in early culture, and they see the dog roll over, and it's the white belly.
And that's why the French took the white flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
that's
that
why
makes a lot
that's
more
why the
sense than I was
Japanese took most of the red off of their flag, because after we nuked them, it was like,
Is that true?
No.
Sounds like it could be.
You think about a lot of times we think about like how the world is going to end. It's like, oh, we're probably going to like nuclear holocaust. We're probably going to destroy each other.
That's what I think.
And it's like, it always seems like that's going to be a future instance. But like, no, that already fucking happened. We already dropped a nuke on people.
Yeah.
Like the United States dropped a nuke on people, like innocent people as well.
Yeah, well...
I think we just didn't know like the kind of power that we had, and afterwards we were like, "Oh fuck!"
I don't know if that's true because we dropped some nukes in Arizona. We knew how fucking powerful they were. But here's the thing that they don't talk about with the nukes is the fire bombings. Mm-hmm. Okay, fire bombings were happening all over Japan and all sides of the war. You know, Germany, America, Japan. We all did fire bombings, and they said. The thing that the nuke stopped was those fire bombings. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Dan Carlin's Hardcore History podcast. Go listen to that. But he talked about that in depth, and it's kind of funny because the fire, like, how horrific can you get? There's stories of these fire bombings which would kill mostly innocent people, mm-hmm. And almost as much as the nuclear bomb. And they, there's stories of people melting to the asphalt and just
their shadows getting cooked onto walls.
Yeah, and how much worse is that than a nuclear bomb being dropped?
A nuclear bomb is pretty quick, I'd say. In terms of if you're gonna die anyway, like
except for the radiation poisoning.
Yeah, well,
which is
I'm just
kind
saying,
of the opposite argument.
Yeah, but if you're part of the initial blast, mm-hmm. I'd rather be in a nuclear bomb than like a fire bomb.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's pretty much before you know it, you're dead, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it's all horrific. And speaking of horrific, let's talk about the real victims in Ferguson.
Okay.
The white people.
Yeah.
Poor white people.
How
it's so hard to be a white male in society today.
I mean, I was thinking
you
this.
Can't win.
I was thinking of this earlier. Like, it seems almost like flip flopped because a lot of times, like in the '60s or whatever, the *50s. There would be like riots. The black people are like, let's stay the fucking side because we're gonna be the first people to get killed. But now the 20% of people in Ferguson that aren't black are like, let's stay inside. We're gonna be the first people to get killed. And so it's just sort of a big thing. I'm 100% for peaceful protests. Now that we're coming back to that, almost as like a Martin Luther King as sort of the archetype or whatever. I hope I'm using that word correctly.
Yeah, the archetype or
the archetype
Mahatma Gandhi or anybody.
The archetype of peaceful protest.
Yeah. Especially African American black people protest.
Right. But like, he was the archetype of peaceful protest, and following that sort of pattern where people are violent against you, but you just continue to rise up peacefully. And that really, I think that's why the civil rights movement in the 60s really was successful, because it was peaceful. But now nobody's taking anyone in Ferguson seriously. I know there are people that are peacefully protesting in Ferguson.
Yeah.
But the people that are just using it as an excuse to go loot places, they're not taking them seriously anymore. Just because it's like
it's not peaceful.
Yeah, I said earlier, it's like, oh, thanks, Mike Brown. I got some Nikes.
Shout out to Mike Brown. I got this 46-inch plasma TV.
Black Friday is coming early in Ferguson. I got all my Christmas shopping done.
That is so terrible.
That was easily a white person pretending to be black. Like that was a little bit. I should have just been like, I got all my Christmas shopping done.
Thanks, Mike Brown.
Thanks, Mike Brown.
We got all the Christmas shopping done because you, Mike Brown. I don't even know what that was. I don't know why I went Southern for a black. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I shouldn't say where I live. But maybe just saying that sentence kind of gave it away.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that like.
Do you think saying that I live in the south of the United States is going to give away where I live?
There's a lot of South.
There is a lot of South.
And we don't really have accents. Like, I know that if people in New York were listening, they'd be like,
yeah,
you guys have like some crazy accents. Like, I can tell you're from the South, okay?
That's exactly how they would say that, by the way.
Yeah. That wasn't me. That was like someone else from New York came in and said that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We flew them out here.
Tupac's great great cousin, or what is it? Second. What is it when it's 3 cousins down? Third cousin?
I don't know. Well, see,
whatever
it's
it was.
Sort of
Thanks,
weird...
Tupac's cousin, for coming in and saying that. Appreciate it.
Well, see, that's another thing that, like, family relations. I don't have a very big family. Mm-hmm. So the family relations kind of, like, confuse me. Like, second cousin and third cousins. It's like, apparently second cousins, my mom's cousin is my second cousin. But, like, for the longest time, I was like, what is a second cousin? Like, how many? I don't know. It's just sort of weird that we even have names for these things. Like, do I even have the same blood as that guy? I don't think so.
I don't think I fucking know
There's
that.
like a marginal amount.
I always think if I had sex with them, would my baby come out retarded? That's how I like to think about it.
If I had sex with my mom's guy cousin, would the babies come out retarded?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. If any scientists are listening, could you please answer that for me?
If I have a sex with a man, will I have retarded babies?
Well, according to yes. So how big is your family? Thanksgiving's coming up, so if you guys all got together, how many people would you think would show up?
It's sort of crazy. I have my mom and my dad and my brother.
Okay.
I have 2 sets of grandparents. They're both still alive. My dad's parents, we don't really see them that often, so it's sort of I'm really most close to my mom's parents. We visit them a lot.
But you don't have that many cousins or anything?
No, for most Thanksgivings, it's me, my mom, my dad, my brother, and my mom's parents.
The only reason I just need to be honest for a second. The only reason I asked that question is so I could say I got a lot of fucking family. Yeah. I just wanted to segue into me.
Okay.
Talking about how big my family is. My family is Irish Catholic, and boy, do they like to fuck. I have like 13 cousins. I don't know, probably more than 13, but I have 7 aunts and uncles on just my mom's side. And they all have like 4 or 5 kids each.
Well,
and so when my family gets together, it looks like a fucking gathering of the Juggalos.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
Well, Catholics don't believe in wasting sperm, do they?
No, we don't. Well, I say we like I'm still a acting Catholic.
But
no,
I'd like to reference Monty Python's The Meaning of Life.
Okay.
Here when they have that song, you really need to look it up. It's called. Oh, what is it? Basically, it's a Catholic family, and the guy's saying, he just lost his job at the firm, and he's like, I'm gonna have to like make all you kids work, and he's singing this song about like having all these children, like they have hundreds of children, and it's just like, well, we can't have sex without like conceiving. That's a sin. So kids are just coming out of the woodworks for the entire song. It's like every sperm is special, every sperm is good, and there's just like children marching. Like at the end of the song, there's just children marching to the warehouse to go work.
You know what I was told? I was told when you go to purgatory. Which is most likely for most Catholics, hell or purgatory.
Hell or purgatory.
You're going to have to meet all the undead potential fetuses from all the times that you jerked off.
That you're going to be in purgatory for longer than you were alive.
Basically, I know I will be if it's true. I've jerked off 3 times today already.
Yeah, and what is it like? Is there millions or billions of sperm in a ejaculate?
I'm guessing hundreds of millions. I'm going to choose a middle ground. Hundreds of millions. Mm-hmm. So that's, I mean, I got to say, there are probably more atoms in the universe than there are unborn fetuses.
Yeah.
that I have met. That I have to meet all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna suck.
There's a lot, and like I read somewhere, I don't remember the exact number, but like approximately in one ejaculation, there is like gigabytes of data that is being transferred, And it's just like, that's like really fast data transfer.
It's such a fast
It's like in a couple seconds, that's the fastest.
Maybe that will be the next computer.
It's just liquid transfer.
It's liquid transfer. Well,
it's actually physical data.
Yeah, well, that would be amazing. But
analog experience. Yeah. Shout out to the analog experience.
Shout out to the analog experience. Well, actually, my thought was I imagined tons of men just coming in their computers to get the new Battlefront or Battlefield.
Yeah, you pay with cum. It's not bitcoins or anything. It's as you pay with your semen.
You pay with your semen and potential children, and it gets downloaded into this bank where all these all these.
Is this how the Matrix is gonna start?
I think so.
Because you're gonna like have your unborn seed, and then the machines are gonna use that as fuel.
Yeah, basically. Computers will run on cum in the future. Why not? It's not any crazier than anything else that's happened in the last 20 years.
It's a sustainable resource, I'd say.
Yeah, clearly.
It's like if you're going to sit at your computer and masturbate all day, might as well charge your computer.
The system is already in place. The system is clearly already in place.
I think the docking mechanism is going to... Like, you can't borrow your friend's computer.
Well, you could if you're a freak.
Yeah, you could.
As long as you're not worried about HPV.
Yeah.
I didn't take that vaccine. I don't know about you.
HPV?
Yeah.
What's that?
HPV is a sexually transmitted disease that you can take a vaccine for now.
Okay. I didn't know about HPV.
Oh, well, I'm informing you now.
Okay.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah. I only know about the big names, AIDS, HIV.
Herpes.
Here, real quick, now that we're talking about HIV and AIDS, I was in theater in high school, and I think I've already told you this. Yeah. There are, when we were at State, there are like hundreds of, probably like thousands of kids at State performing and stuff. And at the end of the day, they pass around like the offering plate. And they're
AIDS.
like, for AIDS. And they're like, give us money to cure AIDS.
Of course that happens at theater. My brother's in theater. My gay brother is in theater, and he thought it was the funniest fucking thing ever that in theater they support.
Generally, AIDS is something you do to yourself, so I never gave any money. Like, I understand there are definitely cases where you're...
Okay, wait, let me stop you there. What about all the kids in Africa born with AIDS?
No, that's what I'm getting with. I'm saying, like, if your parents have AIDS and you're born at that point, then you can be born with AIDS. But a lot of the cases are what you do to yourself. And I do feel bad for the people who like have sex with people and they don't know that the other person has AIDS, but that's also kind of still something you do to yourself.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I totally disagree with that, but
okay. Tell me about how you disagree with it.
I just want people not to suffer. I don't really. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, like, if I'm going to give to charity, don't get me wrong, I'm a selfish asshole, and I want to keep all my money. But if I'm going to give to a charity, I'm going to give to one that is, like, you didn't do that to yourself.
I see where you're coming from.
I'm going to feed, I want to, like, feed, like, kids in other countries. Like, if I'm going to give to a charity, it's going to be, like, I'm going to try and give money to places that feed kids in other countries.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like the ASP... Yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from. I don't totally agree with that, but it's kind of funny with, like, basically the ASPCA, helping animals. Like, cool, like, animals are important. I don't want them to die and all that other stuff. But what about those human beings in Africa? What about them?
Yeah, it was funny. I think I told you about this. I saw a commercial. I was watching on TV one day, and the ASPCA. Or it was like for the starving kids in Africa. I don't know what that is. The fund.
The Starving Kids in Africa fund.
Yeah, it's like, all right, for only 50 cents a day, you can help feed a starving kid in Africa. And then the ASPCA commercial came on the next commercial break, and I was like, for only $1 a day. It was like, oh, the dogs cost more than the Africans.
So wait, you're saying a dog life is worth more than an African?
Yeah.
Okay.
But honestly, it might be.
African dogs?
It might be. No, I mean, like, I honestly feel worse for dogs than I do for people because they don't have no frame of reference to what's going on.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. So we were over at Ms. house today recording some more songs. So I guess I'll just say this: his dog is super skittish. Like it's a young dog, and you like wonder what happened. It's a rescue dog.
Yeah.
You wonder what happened to that dog.
I was saying last time that like that dog's probably seen more shit than I have. Like I've had a good
more gangster than you are.
I've had a good life. Like I have no reason to be skittish. I have a good family and parents, and I've had enough money to get to where I am now. Yeah. But that dog has probably been beaten or something, and that's more than I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they really have like you said, they have no frame of reference. They don't really know what they did wrong. I don't know. I feel like I should care more about the person, like when the person dies in a movie. But I think most people are this way. When a dog gets shot, everybody's like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, because essentially they're innocent. That's
what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's the same like if a kid, like a child, dies in a movie. It's like, oh, why they didn't have time to be bad yet. Like,
exactly.
Let him get shitty, and then I won't care about him anymore.
Yeah.
But like dogs, it's sort of, and it's like I feel like we made the world this way. Like as people, we made the world kind of a bad place, and animals sort of have no stake in that. They can't really stand up for themselves.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know. Midge I just wonder what happened to Mid's dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's such a sweet dog. It's a sweet pit bull. Just kind of, it goes against what people say about pit bulls. And it's kind of shitty that they're illegal in California because it's not the actual animal, although it does have genetic tendencies, I guess I can see that, but
yeah.
It's really how you raise the dog.
Yeah, I mean, you could have pretty much a pet anything as long as you raise it correctly.
Well, I don't know if I don't think you could have a pet giraffe.
Well, it won't fit in your house. Or...
Well, let's say you had $100 million. I bet you could still never ride that giraffe because it does not give a fuck about you.
Yeah, well, I mean, people are around giraffes though. Like giraffes, like they're a giraffe, like at the zoo. They're like kind to their like caretakers and everything.
Yeah, but every once in a while, a giraffe will just fucking whip its neck around, just buck you in the head.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely animals that are unpredictable, and let me go ahead and say that birds are the number one unpredictable animal. You just look in their eyes, and they're just hollow.
Little flying cunts.
Yeah, this hollow, like, you could just sit there forever, or you could be, like, in 5 seconds, be picking my eyes out. Yeah. Like, you have no tell. Like, the best poker face on an animal ever, birds.
It's a bird. Yeah. That's true.
Because let me go ahead and say this. I did a little project on this. Modern birds today, or at least birds of prey, are kind of direct descendants of dinosaurs, theropods, which are, your two-legged dinosaurs such as T-Rex, raptors, velociraptors. Actually, a lot of birds are actually called raptors. That was something I didn't know. Like predator birds are called raptors, and people just think that that's just a dinosaur term, but they're called raptors. And when you look at like even Jurassic Park, which the first one did a really good job, they have those bird-like qualities that are sort of we can only imagine that's kind of how dinosaurs were those like kind of crazy looking things. And also the feathers is a kind of a big thing that they've left off of dinosaurs. They found
so many dinosaurs now. They're saying most of the dinosaurs probably had feathers. But let me stop you for a second. How excited are you about Jurassic World coming out?
I think it looks
it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I kind of wish that they would have put feathers on the dinosaurs.
I don't. I look, I get that it's more realistic to have feathers on the dinosaurs, but they look damn scarier without the feathers.
No, I think they look scarier with the feathers.
Really?
Yeah. Just because I don't know, I think they look scarier. And the thing about Jurassic Park was they really tried to stick to science, like at the beginning of the franchise. And if they were proud to have that science, to be sticking to science, then they should be proud to stick to science now. 'Cause science has evolved since then. There's things we know. That's just how science is.
I'm just really excited about it. I wanted to be a paleontologist until I was in like 4th grade. Until I found out how kind of boring it is to actually be a paleontologist.
A lot of paperwork.
Yeah, lots of paperwork.
Mostly
a lot of just like
mostly just reading stuff.
Just brushing back and forth slowly and gently. Don't try not to
that's
hit
sort
the
of
dirt
like
in the bone.
I mean, if you're the guy brushing off the bones, that seems like a job that like you're the guy like operating the camera of like a movie. Like if you're in the movie industry, you could be like a PA or something, and that's what most of the paleontologists would be.
What is a PA for our non-movie industry friends?
It is a production assistant. They basically just sort of get the coffee, whatever the person.
Yeah, they're just the randoms. They do whatever.
Yeah, they do whatever. If they, can you go take that scrim out of that light? No one's around.
Yeah. What was some of the PA work you had to do? Was like go pick up a pizza and stuff like that. Dude.
Oh, I don't think I've ever relegated myself to PA work.
Oh, okay.
So that's something I at least tried to do, was not do PA work, because it's like you're basically on a movie, you're working at a movie, but you're not doing anything movie related.
Right.
Not that I'd put myself above PA work if it was like a Hollywood movie or something like that, trying to get my name in the door, my foot in the door. Because I'm definitely not above really anything at all.
Yeah, 20 years old, you kind of got to just do what you got to do.
Yeah, you got so. If there's a better opportunity out there for me, I'd like to do that. But
yeah, let me tell you about. I worked on this movie called Do you think I should say the name of the movie?
Let's hold off this time.
Okay, let's hold off on the name of the movie. But I worked on a movie. I was the lead audio engineer on the movie.
Yeah.
And let me just say, the PAs on our movie had the shittiest work. They would have to like drive people. One time they had to drive the director to the hospital. One of our PAs did, because he was having a panic attack and he was throwing knives everywhere.
Yeah.
They just had shitty jobs. But I don't really know how we got on this subject. But anyways, let's segue back to Mez House.
Yeah.
With another terrific segue that we're known for
in
this second episode. How awesome was it recording today? I feel like things went a lot smoother.
Yeah, I brought my cigarettes today.
Yeah, you told me you felt a lot cooler.
Yeah, I don't care what you say. Cigarettes make you look cooler.
Ooh, what you say? Yeah,
true. I was trying to give everybody. It was me, meh, and meh. And we were. I had a cigarette behind my ear. I was trying to give them a cigarette behind our ear. We all just trying to be cool.
Yeah, it's true. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life, but cigarettes definitely do seem cooler. And I never understood, like, as a kid, because I did DARE and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
And they would always say, like, cigarettes are bad. They can give you cancer. And I never understood, like, what the point of smoking it was. But then when I got some friends that all smoke cigarettes, I'm like, oh, there's, like, a social aspect to it. You guys all kind of hang out outside and talk in a circle,
Yeah. I mean, I don't smoke that much, but I enjoy it. It's relaxing. And it's just like, I don't know, it's definitely cool. I think it's maybe because I'm like a movie buff. You watch the film noir films, and they're in the 50s, like they're always lighting a cigarette up in the movies, and they just are the coolest guys you've ever seen.
That's so true. And then the like main action hero is like always smoking a cigarette. Did you know that did you know that I'm not sure if I know this? did you know that I heard that if there's like cigarette smoking in movie, it automatically gets like a PG-13 or like an R rating? Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
And I guess I understand. I'm not really one to like like. It's fun. Like, I don't care if you do anything in the world, but it's like
do whatever you do as long as it's not affecting anybody else or the environment that we live in.
Yeah, it's like why
I gotta agree.
It's like why, like, I understand, like, you don't want kids to look up to, you don't want more people like us thinking cigarette smoking is cool. But also, like, why does it just bump up the rating that much? Like, you should have parents telling you, or at least a guardian telling you that, like, hey, cigarettes give you cancer. Like, don't smoke cigarettes. Like, even though this guy does.
Well, it's because the anti-cigarette lobby is so strong. It's almost become like a business. You know how like certain charities are businesses more than they are charities? It's the same thing with the anti-smoking lobby. Can we talk a second about how uncomfortable this setup is?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
I kind of have to go pee. So, do you have a subject that you can just talk about while I go take
that
pee?
I could just rant about for a second?
We're gonna do a 30-second rant.
Okay, I'm gonna do a 30-second
starting
rant
now.
Okay, so
probably more than 30 seconds.
Maybe a little bit more than 30 seconds. So let me talk to you about why I don't smoke cigarettes. I've never smoked a cigarette in my life. I have smoked a cigar. But the reason that I don't smoke is I was at a family reunion one time, And my aunt, she says out of the blue, she goes, I never smoked a cigarette. And then the rest of my family was like, oh, bullshit. You used to smoke weed, and we know that you've tried cocaine and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no, for real. I've never smoked a cigarette. And I was like, that's who I want to be. I want to be like my aunt, the one who's never smoked a cigarette but has done every other drug in the world. So that's why I don't smoke. And it's not like I haven't been offered before. I've been offered cigarettes while I've been the drunkest I've ever been in my life and the highest I've ever been in my life and while tripping. And people, in school they told you that nobody would ever really peer pressure you that hard to smoke a cigarette. But I've actually sat in a circle where everybody around me was yelling at me, come on, just take a hit, faggot. Fuck you, smoke this cigarette. Come on, stop being a bitch. It's kind of funny. But yeah, up until this point, I've still managed not to smoke a cigarette. But I guess I don't count e-cigs.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand there's things like that. I sort of have a similar sort of situation. There's this place where, I guess this might just kind of give away. There's this place that sells bagels that, there's like, they have.
Are they brothers?
No.
Oh.
They have it's like a one-off kind of place.
Oh, okay.
And it's in my hometown, and they like put meat and cheese, like this basically.
Oh,
it's
like
the
best
bagels,
fucking bagels.
Yeah, with like bagel sandwiches, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And literally everyone I've ever talked to that lived there has gone to this place, and I just never have. And it's like at this point, I just don't want to.
Yeah,
it's like I just want to say that I never have. There was another thing like that in the place I lived. Like the place that I grew up in was very, or at least my formative years that I grew up in, because I moved around a lot, but. It's kind of small, and so to not go to a certain place, you kind of really have to try. Mm-hmm. I never went to the library. That seems like the dumbest place to not want to go. It's like
no, it really
I don't want no education, please.
No library for me, please.
But I was like, I'm never going to the library. I'm never going to the public library here.
What a bold decision.
Yeah. I've never actually there's never been a time where I had to be like, no, I can't go in. Like, I've just never actually had to have gone in.
Yeah. It's funny. You mentioned that you moved around a lot. This is my thoughts on moving. Every time that I move, I feel like I become more of myself. You know what I mean? Because when you stay in one place for long enough, you kind of, maybe you tell some white lies to your friends or whatever. You know what I mean? Or
it's a good chance to start over.
It's a good chance to start over, exactly. And so
reevaluate the things you believe in.
And you get some different opinions from the people around you. So I hated moving, but I also really loved it. Because, I've lived in all different types of situations from, I lived in the country, suburbs, and Chicago.
Yeah.
So I think moving, if I ever have kids, I'm going to make sure to move all the fucking time.
Yeah, make sure it's the worst life they've ever had.
Exactly. Because I feel like it helped me out a lot. Because I see some kids who've just lived in Florida their whole life. Fuck. I gave it away. All right.
We live in Florida.
We live in Florida. And we're near a hotel. But, yeah, I've seen some kids that have lived in Florida their whole life, and I'm like, you are kind of like stupid, You think things are how they are. They think it be how it is, but it do. Yeah. They think it be how it is, but it do.
I used to live in another place in Florida, and I'm really like, that was where I met like one of my very best friends, pretty much a brother to me.
Meh.
Yeah, meh. And this story's not about him, actually. This story is about how, it was a really good place to live, and I'm glad that I moved away now. Like, I'm glad that I moved away. Although I was very, like, kind of heartbroken when I did move away.
Right.
But it's like, I was kind of a loser, I realized. Like, then I was sort of like the weirdest kid, and I know that as you grow up through high school, like, you become less of a weird kid and just, or whatever. But like, I was already the weird kid, kind of.
Right.
And so moving away, I had the chance to do something else.
Yeah, it gives you it just gives you a chance to restart. Yeah. And I think moving is important because it gives you, you can just really get stuck in a rut. It's almost like you just get surrounded by like-minded people who think exactly like you, and that's how weird shit in religion starts up.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, what if we cut off the, one awesome dude that everybody loves is like, hey, what if we cut the tip of a baby's dick off? What about that? And everybody's like, yeah, you're the coolest. Do whatever, man. And then everybody starts doing it, and it's like, and then, eventually it just becomes a thing that everybody does. It's like, what the fuck? It's,
How did this happen?
So, and then in the same way, you can live in the same area where everybody's like, yeah, cigarettes are great. Or like, maybe that's a bad example, but everybody's like,
because literally everyone smokes cigarettes.
Yeah, that's a terrible example, actually. Maybe the worst example. But, everybody's like, yeah, it's the coolest, man. You should really try.
Cocaine is great.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so that's a great example because in Indiana, where I used to live, I had heard of one person trying cocaine. Okay, but as soon as I moved to Florida, I felt like, everybody had tried it. Not everybody, but
Everyone in your circle of friends.
No, not even that. Although yes, but but just random like white girls that I wouldn't expect, super nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did cocaine
Oh
once.
yeah, I tried it once. It was, it just wasn't for me. I'm like, what? You fucking tried cocaine?
And it wasn't for you?
But that's what happens when you live in the same area for so long.
You just, I can attest to that. Like, the place I grew up in, there's definitely a lot of like-minded people, and it's like, my best friends, we're all sort of, you become cynical if you live somewhere too long.
Yeah, that's true.
You become very cynical, and that's why you just need a new perspective, is because you need to know that there's more than what you have right in front of you.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I think I want to travel. I keep having this weird dream that I win $1 million and then I invite you, meh, to document the fall of as
you're spending more and more money.
Yeah, I've had this dream like 100 times now.
Yeah,
but that's neither here nor there. But it's that's part of the reason. I guess one of the reasons I want to travel.
You know what? You said your name.
Well, no, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
We'll cut that out.
just put a bleep in.
Yeah, I'll just.
That'd be really funny though.
I don't think anybody would have caught on to it unless you had said it.
I don't know. Unless everyone's like, I wonder why they're just calling themselves meh, and they're just paying more attention.
Let's talk about that. Why do we call ourselves meh?
It's mostly because like now we can say whatever we want without any repercussions. If somebody from work hears it and all they can do is speculate that it's us. They don't know for sure.
All they can do is speculate. Well, they have the exact same voice, and they're talking about all these people, and they have the same thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's them.
Yeah, but it's like we don't legally have to tell them.
Yeah.
But also, it's sort of more freeing, I guess, to not include your name.
Yeah, well, we're not really at the point where we could be like David Cho, who just lets it all on the line and he says names. We're still too young.
Yeah, but it's also like it's not about us per se. It's more about the things we're talking about. Like,
I guess so.
I don't want it to be, the analog experience starring that and that. But like our actual names, it's just
that's a good
who
point.
we are doesn't matter. It's just sort of like trying to think about different things.
Exactly, just the ideas that we're putting out here. Although, it kind of is dumb that I don't say my name because I want to be a stand-up comedian. And one of the things that a lot of stand-up comedians do is they have their own podcast and they use their name.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just sort of a trial run, I'd say.
Yeah, that's true.
Like we're just trying to test the waters.
Yeah, and it's a good way to kind of like express
your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, that, and it's a little bit artistic. You got to kind of like go with the ebbs and flows of the conversation.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that. There is an art form to conversation, and there's so many people that haven't mastered that.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't mastered it. And
I definitely haven't.
And it's just sort of like, I mean, I'm pretty good at conversation when there's people I'm comfortable with, but when I'm uncomfortable in a situation, or like even not necessarily uncomfortable, but I just don't really know what I can say and what I can't say, I tend to just sort of shut up and listen to everyone else.
Yeah. That's true. It's we're better. But I think we're better than most people at conversations.
At least, I mean, I don't know if you've seen me. Like, you've never seen me not be around you.
That's true.
So, like, I've always been able to talk to you, but
yeah.
like when I'm just at a party, I'm literally just silent.
That sucks.
So it's just sort of like
I guess I'm more outgoing than you.
Yeah, I guess so, and that's fine. I just don't want to. I guess part of me still doesn't want to offend. I guess.
Well, that's just natural.
Especially like if I guess I don't care really, but if I'm like with my girlfriend or something, and she's with her friends, I don't want to say anything that's just like, yeah, your boyfriend's fucking awful. It's like, no, he doesn't mean. I don't want to like create a situation where my girlfriend has to explain anything.
Yeah,
I just
you don't
want to try and be
guy.
considerate.
Yeah, and we do live in a corporate world, and it sucks, and that's part of the reason I want to be a stand-up comedian. But
yeah.
We still have to kind of like fucking watch what we say. It's fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Luckily, the field that we're in, we can get away with quite a bit in the AV field.
Yeah.
And the male prostitution field.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could work a normal job. There's no way. I would just be I'd either just kill myself or I would just like have no personality whatsoever.
Yeah. Let me talk about the AV field for a second, which we should just bleep out what field we're in. I don't know, because it's funny to add more bleeps in.
Oh, okay. From this point on, anytime we say
yeah,
we'll bleep it out.
Yeah. Anyway, so the guy that we work with, who was going to report you to HR?
Yeah, that guy,
Yeah.
That fucking guy.
Okay, so I was at work yesterday, and you know that drawing that I drew on the board, the more?
Yeah, he talked to me about it, actually, but go ahead.
Anyway, so I drew this picture of Mr. Krabs. I don't know if you've seen the SpongeBob episode where SpongeBob is catching jellyfish, and Mr. Krabs keeps saying, more. But there's this one like frame for a couple seconds where it's a really detailed and really weird looking crab.
Yeah, it's the Mr. Krabs more meme.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Look it up, Mr. Krabs more meme, and I drew that on the board, and I basically just said more over it.
Nothing bad.
Yeah, and it was just I drew it like at the end of the night one night, and when we had like a break in between things. Anyway, I came in one morning and it was gone. I was like, somebody erased my drawing. And is like, don't do it again. And I'm like, who the fuck are you?
He's the same position we are. He has no fucking say.
Yeah, I basically just challenged him on it. I'm like, oh, well, who was our supervisor, he didn't have a problem with it. And he's like, well, our boss told us that we needed to clean off the floor because it was time to resurface.
What does that have to do with the fucking picture?
Yeah, and he was like, he thought that was because, he thought that our boss told us to do that because the drawing represented us having a lot of downtime.
He's just looking too deep into it.
Yeah.
This guy's just fucking looking for an issue all the time.
If our boss had a problem with the drawing, I don't think our boss is that cryptic. He would just be like, hey, if you have time to draw stuff on the board, then you should find something else to do.
That's a good point. I feel like he would just come out there and say it.
Or like, hey,
really good point.
Just don't draw stuff on the board. Like that. This is a board for like professional purposes. Like, just don't draw stuff on it. He wouldn't be that cryptic about it.
This is a guy that has rich parents, which doesn't necessarily make you a bad person, but when you act shitty, you know what I mean?
Yeah, then
entitled.
Then that's the reason you were.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy's got rich parents, and he's just
fucking know-it-all, like to the extreme.
He knows everything. You can't talk about anything in front of him. This guy tried to talk to me for an hour and a half about Zeppelins, and at one point I was just like, dude, stop. I don't care about Zeppelins that much. Stop talking to me. Trying to prove how much information you have. Just fucking stop.
Yeah. He just always disagrees about everything. Me and we're talking about the moon is very far from the Earth.
Right.
Like, you can fit... we read this article that you can fit every planet in the solar system in between
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
The Earth and the Moon. And whether that's true or not, I think it is. It seemed like that was true. But basically we were just saying, yeah, the moon's really far. And the guy was like, no, it's not really. It's like, well, what do you fucking mean? Like, it's farther than the Earth. It's farther from the Earth than you've ever been.
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's like, yeah, relative to everything that is in the universe, yeah, it's not that far.
He's just looking for an excuse to
disagree.
He's just all around. When you think about all the shitty qualities that you dislike in a person, this guy pretty much has all of them.
Yeah, and
he's almost helpful to me because I think about, well, this is what he does. Let me never be that way.
Yeah. I'll catch myself and be like, I'll like disagree with something someone says. I'm like, maybe that was a little bit too much like meh. I'm like, sorry, no, you can believe that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Like, I don't care. At risk of sounding like I'm disagreeing with you, I don't care what you.
I just don't want to seem like meh.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and I think we've been going for a little while. Let's go ahead and wrap it up with literally the most
prayer.
Take
a knee.
The most fucked up thing you can think of on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Eating a newborn baby in front of the mother.
Wow, that's not as good as mine. I was saying midget shitting on your dick.
Okay, I think maybe mine's worse.
I think yours is worse. I think you won this round.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you're not in Ferguson. Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Good night. Bye.